Hey friends, Jared here with another review from Fanboys Forever. And today, to follow up our review of the Aliens Mega Construx Black Series Blind Eggs Wave 2, we have the brand new Mega Construx Black Series Aliens Queen figure. I've not put it together yet, so I don't exactly know what to expect, but it looks really cool. Let's go ahead and have a look at the box. First things first, we have a really nice product shot right here of just the Alien Queen herself. Down here it says Alien Queen, some other languages. 232 pieces. This is about 20 bucks. Found mine at Walmart. Over to the side we have the tail out in space, like at the end of the movie. On the other side we have a profile shot of the head. And back here we just have some more product shots. We can see that we have the Alien Queen, and it looks like she is on the spaceship from the end of the movie. She is on the Nostromo. And at the bottom we have a little advertisement for some of the blind eggs you can get. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack it open. I really like how they have this little indentation here. You just pop that. It makes things a little easier when you're opening it up. So let's see if we get any kind of manual or anything like that. Yeah, we get a nice little instruction manual, but it kind of opens like that. Now, the one thing I've always had trouble with in the past with Mega Bloks with their larger sets was sometimes the building instructions aren't quite as clear as I would like them to be, so we'll definitely see if that's the case here. On the back, we just get a little advert for the Blind Egg series. In the box, we get some bags. This one, and this one's actually numbered, along with this numbered bag and this numbered bag. Interesting how some of them are numbered, but some of them are not. Quite randomly, it appears, I did have this piece just floating around in the box, so we'll see if this comes into play or not. And here we have the Alien Queen, all in her glory. We have completed the build, and I have to say, I really enjoyed it. It was a pretty fun build. Let's start before we talk about the actual figure by discussing what the build is like. Whenever you're dealing with a brand that isn't Lego, then it's a little murkier about what you can expect from the building instructions and the actual experience when putting it together. So there's a couple of things to take note of. One, the Mega Bloks team has definitely improved their building instructions since the days of when I built, say, the Technodrome for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The building instructions are a lot more clear, and you'll find many pages where they're very careful about parts that look the same as other parts and are very specific about which ones to use for what. Another thing is their renders have definitely improved in the books, and it's a little more clear where to put things. So that's not exactly a problem. However, with a lot of builds that you'll have in Lego, especially those that tend to just be one or two colors, often what Lego will do is they'll vary up the colors of the internal structure of the build, the parts you really can't see that much. And that usually helps you separate your bricks that way, especially when it's all mainly the same color. If you can't already tell, that's not going to be happening with this thing. For one, they really wouldn't have any way to hide those multicolored bricks and pieces. So what you're left with is just gray and mostly 90% black pieces. This adds a real extra level of challenge when you're putting this thing together, as you're having to inspect all sorts of tiny little pieces to see which ones have these minute differences. So that really sort of detracts from the experience and kind of aggravates it a little bit. The other thing is, even though the bags do have numbers on them, which used to Mega Bloks didn't do when they were Mega Bloks, I guess now they're Mega Construx, still Mattel Building Blocks. How about that? Brand new name. Mattel Building Block Company. How about that? I think they've done a really good job of having kind of a brick-built version of a very, very iconic Stan Winston animatronic puppet. And I think this is about as good as you could really hope to achieve this look with a brick-built kind of pattern. And I really think this is no slouch. I think that for the price point and for really the minimal piece count, I think this is a pretty substantial build. So kudos to them for figuring this out in brick-built form. That doesn't mean it's perfect necessarily, but I really do like what they've accomplished here. So without further ado, let's look at each individual piece. We're going to start out with the head here. You can see that this is definitely the most printed part, and I think that it looks very nice because of it. We do have a little bit of some QC issues going on there with almost like a little bit of a scuff, but that's okay because the Alien Queen was kind of, you know, a little rough looking in the movie. So totally fine. You can just say it's battle damage. You can see that we have the mouth here. This does come with a little this little protrusion that you can just stick in. So there's just a little pole in there that we hook it to. And you can get this look, which is really cool. I like it, but I probably like her to be displayed without it more. So I kind of just think the regular jaw, like we see her more in the movie, I think that's a better, more neutral display option, but I suppose that is her one accessory, if you will. We also have plenty of range with the head here. You can get lots of different kind of motions and lots of movement. And the neck itself is jointed in two places, so you can bring it way down if you want to, and way back if you want to. I kind of keep it back with the head down, so you get lots and lots of options with that. So I actually think that's terrific that we get that much range of movement. It starts to look a little weird if you have the head looking up too much, so I kind of keep it angled down a little bit like this. The arms have plenty of movement too. We have a ball joint at the shoulder. We have a terrific ball joint right here at the elbow. And nothing really gets in the way, so that looks great. You can have her do some excellent karate moves if you want to. We also have some ball joints down here with these little hands, which are really cool. I actually like the little pieces that make the little hands there. I think those look awesome. Which brings me to some of the detailing down here. I really like that they use some of these silver pieces. And the reason I like it so much is because it gives it almost a highlighted look, like there's some extra lighting going on, and breaks up the really, really black look of the Alien Queen. I think it would have been a disservice if the whole model had just been black pieces. Now, most of it is, which makes putting it together sort of nightmarish sometimes. But definitely, I'm glad that they separate things out just a little bit. Notice how I'm fiddling with the head quite a bit. That's because there's so many separate pieces that that compose this head that it kind of, there's a lot of chances for things to get wonky up here. Pieces can shift and move and things can happen. That's one negative aspect to it, I suppose, because it's hard to keep everything kind of symmetrical. Maybe I would have liked to have seen them secure some of that a little bit more. You can see that we have some weird biomechanical bits to the legs there, which I really like. Always enjoyed that aspect of the alien that implied that it was more of a biomechanical, unnatural organism and not something that just could occur in nature. We also have on the tail back here, and I really like this, all these weird biomechanical spikes. Same thing for the big spikes up here, which may be a little large for their purpose, and they're certainly posable, so you can minimize these with posing or just take them off. We have all these little poles that come out of the tail, and this tail is incredibly flexible and holds whatever pose you put it in. So you can have some very aggressive poses like this, and I think that that just works out perfectly for what they were doing. My favorite thing to mess around with on this figure is the tail because of all the different little tiny points of articulation. You mess with it too much and it will fall off. But look, I mean, it's holding what I'm doing really well. So I think that this is probably the most fun that I have with a figure, posing the tail in kind of crazy ways. Brings me to my next point about the quality of the bricks. The quality of the bricks are actually quite nice. This is about as good as you can hope to have when it comes to your brick quality of a non-Lego built product. So I actually think that Mattel has stepped it up in terms of their brick quality. This is much better quality than the bricks that I used to, say, put together the Ninja Turtles Technodrome, which were good quality bricks, but not quite like this. So I actually think that this really, really works. I'll tell you another thing that shows that this is kind of quality is that we have these ball joints throughout the figure, like at the hips and things, and they hold whatever you do with it really well. They're not floppy at all. They're not inconsistent. Everything is just consistent and of a good quality of material. So I do think that Mattel has really went the extra mile to make sure that this really, really works. There's also some proprietary pieces all throughout this. Like, of course, the alien head is a brand new piece. Of course, you have some other things that are probably proprietary, like the head crests up here. But you never know. Maybe they were in Halo. I didn't really get any of those sets, so I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're the Covenant or something. Moving on down, the only part that I would probably say is sort of a weakness is you have this front part of the chest that doesn't look quite finished out. and it almost begs for some curved pieces or something to be put in this area. But because she's leaned down more like this most of the time, you're not going to see it, and these hands kind of block that out. The other unfinished little bit is these inner thighs right here. As a matter of fact, they look kind of ridiculous because of how angular they look, so it just looks like just Lego pieces put together. But you're never hardly going to see those. So they certainly were very careful about the brick count. And they wanted to, I guess, get this in at that $20 price point. And so the parts where the bricks aren't completely necessary, they have indeed really been a little stingy with where those bricks go. But I'll tell you, it's worth it, though, because the size is very right for a $20 build, especially when you compare, say, the Colonial Marine here beside of the Alien Queen. And you can see the size is substantial. You could almost say that maybe slightly she might be just a little too big, maybe. But I think that really it mostly works, especially because the Alien Queen was kind of hunkered down in the movie. And I think that once you hunker her down a little bit, you can kind of make it a little more appropriate. You know, you can just imagine this is Ridley. Yeah, right there. Get away from her, you brick! Get it? Yeah. So it also looks great with one of the old Xenomorphs. You can take the original Xenomorph release. And it's funny, there's some kinship here because of the rubber hands on this new one. These are just proprietary, like, rubber pieces. The old Xenomorph had funny rubber hands, too, so they kind of go together in that way. These guys look awesome together. I suppose one of the stranger elements of this build are these funny, like, display stand pieces that like to come off very easily, by the way. You have this larger one, then you have this smaller one over here. And I know that without these, it would be incredibly difficult to stand it up on just these regular feet. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you take these off, you try to balance it without them. You can do it, I guess, but it's a little bit more difficult. Oh, it actually does it. Okay. See, you don't need them. That's a good thing. But earlier when I was trying it, I wasn't having like any luck whatsoever. It's not going to work every time. See, I'm not able to do it now. But if you can get it just right, see, like that, and she will stand without those display pieces. It's weird that they're different sizes. It's weird that they're specific shapes. I guess they're going for kind of an artistic look, but it is strange to see them. I guess they're supposed to simulate shadows or something, or a piece of the Nostromo floor, maybe. I'm not really sure, but they're not 100% necessary, but they certainly help if you have her displayed and you're having a hard time having her stand up. So at least they were thinking of that anyway. They had you covered there. I know something I'm always curious about when I do one of these builds is how many leftover pieces are you going to have? Well, with Mega Bloks, you're definitely going to have more than you would with a Lego product. You're going to end up with about that many right there. And what's hilarious is earlier, before I started the review, I wondered why this was in the box. Turns out there was no reason for that to be in the box. I never did anything with it. So I'm curious to hear if you had that in your box, or if it was just a fluke, maybe at the factory. That one just came in mine. It got put in the wrong one. And it also came with this funny multi-tool that's totally not the Lego multi-tool. It says Mega at the bottom. It's been years since I've owned a Mega Bloks set, so this is my first time seeing this. I like how it's almost Swiss Army knife-like. So it seems pretty useful. It might even be a little more useful than the Lego building tool, the brick separator. So I may keep that around and use it when I'm building some of those sets. Guys, that's it for me. I hope you've really enjoyed this review. If you're enjoying our Mega Bloks content and you're enjoying the Aliens reviews that we've done, then please just drop us a like or give us a comment below and let us know how we're doing. Of course, we would appreciate and love if you would be able to subscribe to the channel. This is just so you don't miss any of our toy reviews. We have multiple videos throughout the week, and we review all sorts of different things here on the channel. So we're excited for you to be a part of it. So anyway, guys, that's all for me. And until next time, be safe out there. God bless you. And remember, I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Be safe.
Get away from her, you brick!
Where's my power loader, Mega Bloks? Mega Construx, give me the power loader!